Well, I'm on the farm here today, and sun's about to go down. And thought I'd mosey over here to my barn. And as many of you know, the 1105 Massey Ferguson spent the winter off the farm, waiting some repairs. And I thought I'd just talk about what happened and why we had to send this thing away. And it's a little dark in here, but hopefully we'll get out here in front of this door, you can see. And right there's the mighty Massey Ferguson 1105. Well, on the front of this tractor, there's a pump. And I'm going to get my cell phone out and put a flashlight on it so you can see. And if you look down in there, I hope you can see that thing right there is a radial pump, and it's driven off the crank of the Massey 1105. And then down in here, this pulley, if you can see it, that's a damper pulley. Some people call them harmonic balancers. So what happened was, if you look, I don't know if you can see this or not, but obviously there's a shaft that runs from that pulley into that pump and drives it. And so I was tooling along mowing hay last year, and I came in and I just kind of letting the tractor go through a cool down, and I looked, and on that pulley there was an O-ring dancing around, this O-ring right here. And they were just kind of bouncing back and forth like that between the pump and that damper pulley. And in order to service this O-ring, which is part of a seal, a radial pump seal on this tractor, to do that you have to take it's a pretty serious repair. There's a tool you can put on and drop it out the bottom, or you got to take the bonnet off and maybe move this front end away. I don't know all the details because that's not a repair I want to do, so that's why I sent it away. And the seal was not leaking, but I was told that when it lets go and finally lets go, it's under high pressure, that it would coat the front of the windshield just like if you were spraying it with a water hose. And the fan would blow that hydraulic fluid all over the front. You would know when that radial pump seal let go. And my fear was, one thing to do that and run it down here on the flat ground, but we get out over the hill, it will be a logistical nightmare to pull this thing in or get a truck back there to it. So I felt like in the off season, what I wanted to do was get this thing fixed, whether it was leaking or not. So I sent it away, and they replaced the seal on the radial pump. And I know you can't see that, but they replaced that radial pump seal. And when they put it back together, they were running up the tractor and noticed just a slight, ever so slight movement on that damper pulley. And I had noticed that too and failed to say something to the mechanic. And what it was, that damper pulley was coming apart. There's steel, rubber, and steel. It's kind of laminated. And I guess if they go bad, it can break the crankshaft. So this tractor's gotten like 4,800 hours on it, maybe just a little bit more. But sometimes people replace those damper pulleys long about those hours. But the mechanic didn't even ask. They just replaced it, which I was very, very grateful that they did. And they had to kind of push this thing apart again to get to it. And it was not an expensive repair to have that done. I had to get one that was rebuilt, and I forget where he told me he got it from. But it's just good to know that while they was in here on that radial pump, they had the presence of mind to see and fix what could have been a catastrophic breakdown as a result of a failure of that damper pulley to the engine. So they did that, and I had a truck bring that big 500-gallon sprayer down, and when he went back, I had him haul this thing up to the mechanic, and he had a big backlog and wasn't going to be able to get to it until January, somewhere like that. And so I said, if you could just let it sit on your lot, that would save me a good amount of money from having to send a truck back down here to pick this thing up. And so he was agreeable to that, and I really appreciated that. And so we got all that fixed, and while it was up there, he replaced the fuel filters and drained the hydraulic fluid out. On the bottom of this tractor, there's a cover and a metal mesh screen. And I asked him to check that. And so that screen, if it's full of shavings, brass shavings or metal shavings, that's generally a signal you need to sell the tractor. But it was clean, so that was a good thing to know. He took care of that, and he's got a pump that cleans the fluid, and then he added some back to it because obviously they lost some fluid with this radial pump. And so the fluid was like new when I got the tractor. It really didn't need to be replaced, but he basically, I guess the pump system he's got, it just cleans it like it's a filter. So if there were any shavings or anything, any debris in that hydraulic fluid, it was captured before it went back in the tractor. This tractor was serviced before I got it. And so he did that, and he did a little work on the AC as far as tightening a belt and checking the charge on it. And there's a hydraulic filter for the system, and you might be able to see it. It's in behind this panel. He replaced that, and I just felt like this is the way it works with me. Okay, I'm one of these guys. I'm not a mechanic. I can change a headlight usually, and I can change oil. But what happens to me is, it'd be my luck, I'd change these fuel filters, and then I wouldn't be able to get it to prime, or something else would screw up. You never know on these old tractors. You mess with this, and the next thing you know, you got an injector pump issue. I don't know. I just felt like it was in it when it was in his shop. He can change that, and if there's some fallout from it, then we can address it while it's up there. And the same thing with this hydraulic fluid, draining and replacing, and getting the pumps to prime and making sure all these connections are sound. I just wanted the mechanic to do that, and so he did, and it was worth it to me to pay to have that done. And I know probably most people would never do that, but I watch some of these videos, and the guys will be leasing land. They're hiring people to come in to plant, and hiring people to come in to harvest their corn and soybeans. And we do it all up here fertilize, put down the herbicide. The only thing we don't do, and it's actually written in our business plan, is when it comes to a major repair, we're going to farm that out. We'll take a hit on that cost. And I'm not a mechanic. And I want to give a shout out right now. There's a YouTube channel called OB Acres, and he's a really good mechanic, I think. He had a video up not too long ago where he was putting a complete air conditioning system on an old Ford tractor with a cab. And those are the kind of skills that I don't have. As a hotshot engineer, in my day job, as I like to jokingly refer to myself, I can design all this stuff in a lot of ways. I have no intimidation about designing these kind of things. But when it comes to actually putting a wrench to them, I just have this knack for doing more damage on things that I can't fix. If I do damage, then it's just better for me to farm it out. If the clutch goes out on this thing, somebody else is going to go and have it fixed. So I was glad to send this tractor back to have that radial seal pump replaced, and I was very grateful they saw the damper pulley, and I failed to mention it to him, and I'd forgot all about it till I saw it on the invoice, and I called him and said, hey, and I said, I'm glad you got that, because I'd forgotten about it. But the Massey 1105 is ready to go, and I just thought I'd tape that O-ring to this service manual, and but this tractor's ready to go. By the way, it's a 1977 model, if you're new to the channel. We got a quick hitch on it, 540 PTO, and I've got the 1000 PTO shaft. It's so dark in here, I don't know if you can see any of that. But I've already got the crone hooked up to it, and just hoping the grass will continue to grow. Not so much in this field, but in the fields back behind us. And we're probably within a month of making hay, I think, maybe sooner than that. And so it's a really good thing to have this 1105 back on the farm. So that's why we had it repaired, and I want to keep a good tractor in great shape to the extent I can. And this is Massey Ferguson 1105 is really a nice tractor, and so I want to, when I need to spend money to keep it in good shape, holy smoke, how much would you have to pay to buy a tractor this big and this heavy that dynos at 117 or 118 horsepower? How much would you have to spend a day? I can do a lot of repairs and a lot of hauling for those kind of prices, and it doesn't get much better than a Perkins 354 6-cylinder diesel. Runs great, and very, very fuel efficient. Massey Ferguson, they had their ducks in a row when they built these tractors, and not sure what went wrong with the series that came after these, but these tractors came highly recommended to me, and from what I read about them, and of course, an equivalent 77 John Deere tractor would cost so much more than what I paid for this tractor. And in a lot of ways, if I went out and bought a 2022 tractor of this horsepower and this weight, not just the horsepower, but the weight of this tractor, which we need to hold the wagons, our kicker wagons, when we're coming down the hill with them, just to get that weight and that horsepower, who knows how much that would cost. So I think probably I can do anything those guys can do with their brand new tractors, super expensive tractors. I'm not sure. I watch some of these haying videos and guys have brand new tractors, and I get it. People need to buy new tractors. I'm not digging new tractors. I'm just saying that from what I can see, there's not a whole lot they do that I can't do. You know, they plug into a monitor and they've got, ISO buses and things like that that they can plug into for their electronics. But, we still employ two eyes and a human brain on this farm, and, hands on a steering wheel and feet on the pedal. And it works out okay. So, got the Massey Ferguson 1105 fixed. It's ready, field ready for haying in 2022. Got the crone back here, and we're just kind of waiting and watching, and very anxious to get going. So, the reason the Massey Ferguson had to go away, I think I've explained it. Feel free to comment, subscribe, and we'll talk to you later.